Welcome back, my duelist friends. Casual Duelist here, and I got another exciting deck profile for you today. This one is kind of sort of heavily modded. I just picked this up as part of that binder collection that I got. And so today we're going to be doing the Lightsworn deck, and I've decided to include some of the Twilights because it makes for an awesome chaos build. I did stray away from using the Punishment Dragons. I just didn't value the effect as much as I do Judgment Dragons. So let's go through the steps. Let's go ahead and show you guys the deck. First off, I should probably mention it's 45 cards, 5 more than I usually throw into a deck. So let's get that started. So I do have the 1 copy Blackluster Soldier Envoy of the Beginning. I'm using 1 copy Blackwing Zephyros the Elite. I'm going to be using 2 copies of Chaos Dragon Levianeer. We're going to be using 3 copies Fellis Lightsworn Archer. Single copy Gareth Lightsworn Warrior. 3 copies Judgment Dragon, because again, this is our main boss. 3 copies Lumina Lightsworn Summoner. 3 copies Lumina Twilight Shaman. 1 copy Lila Lightsworn Sorceress. 1 copy Lila Twilight Sworn Enchantress. 2 copies Performage Trick Clown, because he's just a good tech. And 1 Plague Spreader Zombie, because I needed another character that had a body, and Performage is just once per turn. 3 copies Raiden Hand of the Lightsworn. He's actually one of the best starters. And to round out the monsters, 3 copies of Wolf Lightsworn Beast. Over to our spells, we're going to run the single copy Called by the Grave. 3 copies Charge of the Light Brigade. Single copy Foolish Burial. Single copy Instant Fusion. Single copy Monster Reborn. 3 copies Pot of Avarice. Guess you guys probably weren't expecting that one. Single copy Raigeki. And 3 copies of Solar Recharge. Now, I'm using 1 trap. We're using 3 copies of Breakthrough Skill. If you guys aren't comfortable using this card, that's fine. But it's got a great option because you can use this one from the discard pile, and I didn't have to put Effect Veilers into the main this way. Although 1 Effect Veiler in the main probably would help my extra deck. So let's go over that real quick for you too now. Single copy Millennium Eyes Restrict and Thousand Eyes Restrict each. Those are obviously your instant fusion targets. For Synchros, we're going to be using Black Rose Dragon and Boral Sword, Boral Sword Savage Dragon, and Michael the Arc Lightsworn, and 1 copy Scarlet Red Dragon Arc Fiend. For our Xyz, we've got the single copy Abyss Dweller. We're using a single copy Bujintai's Tsukuyomi, single copy Evil Swarm Exciton Knight, and single copy Minerva the Exalted Lightsworn. And then over to our links, here's my Boral Sword Dragon, single copy Masquerain, single copy Unicorn, single copy Anima, and 1 copy Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. Now, I was actually debating between this and Apollosa. This just happened to win out because I was already running IP Masquerena. If you don't have this, you don't have IP Masquerena, you could always throw in Apollosa and a card of your choice, honestly. For those of you that were just here for the deck list, I want to thank you guys for watching. It means a lot. If this helps out and you aren't already, consider hitting the subscription button and definitely let your friends know about the channel. But you guys are free to go. Everybody else, let's review some of these cards' effects and what they do. And then we'll get out of here for the day. How's that sound? All right, so we do use 2 Chaos monsters. The first one being the Blackluster Soldier. I think we all know you got to play him first by banishing Light and Dark from your discard pile. And then you get an option between using one of his 2 effects once per turn. 1 effect, select a monster on the field, remove it from play. And if you do this effect, you may not attack in the same turn with him. Or if this card destroys an opponent's monster in battle, you may choose to attack once more in a row. So very cool. Zephyros, again, since we're milling so many cards, when this is in the graveyard, you can return 1 face-up card that you control to the hand to special summon this from the discard pile. And if you do take 400 damage, this effect is once per duel, which is fine. We can immediately go into a Link or an Xyz, pitch him, and then still go ahead and use him for Chaos Food. So very good. The double Chaos Dragon Levianeer. Now, I did toy around with playing a single Emperor Dragon here, But with the errata that if you use his effect for sending everything, it's the only card or effect you're allowed to resolve during the turn. That's a little steep. I'd rather have a big monster that I can use the effect and just can't swing with that turn. That said, he's got 3 different effects. So in order to special summon him, we need to banish any combination of 3 cards that are light and or dark. And then based on the attributes that we used, we can go ahead and use the following effects. If it's only lights, we can special summon a monster from our discard pile back in defense. If it's only dark, we can shuffle a random card from the opponent's hand into the deck, but what's more than likely, using any combination of light and dark will allow us to destroy up to 2 cards on the field, and we need that suppressive for control. We are using 3 Fellas Lightsworn Archer. Again, this is going to be one of our tuners. Cannot be normal summoned or set, must be special summoned by card effects. If it is sent from the deck to the graveyard by a monster's effect, you can special summon it. And then the last effect, you contribute this card, target a monster the opponent controls, destroy it, then mill the top 3 from your own deck. And again, this is going to help us do the 8s and 7s rapidly. Gareth is only at 1. Each time a card or cards is sent from the deck to the graveyard by the effect of a Lightsworn monster. Now, before we get too further, when I put Lightsworn in quotes like that, Twilight still counts. Anyway, back to his effect. Every time the cards are sent by a Lightsworn monster that I control that is not Gareth, I get to send an additional 2 by his effect, and then draw 1 card for every Lightsworn sent to the graveyard by this effect. So it has the potential to get us extra cards, and it's not terrible stat at 1850. Judgment Dragon, we need to have 4 Lightsworn with different names or more in the graveyard in order to just freely special summon this, which is why he's the boss monster here. And then additionally, we can board wipe by paying 1,000 life points, destroying every card that isn't Judgment Dragon on the field. And then during the end phases, he will send the top 4 of our cards from deck to discard pile. So again, a little bit of a drawback, a lot of effect. Lumina, one of the best cards in this deck, allows us to swarm out as long as there's a body already in the discard pile. The effect here is once per turn, and it says soft once per turn because it doesn't include her name in quotes. You can discard 1 card, target a level 4 or lower Lightsworn in the graveyard, special summon that target. Once per turn during the end phase, send top 3 from deck to graveyard. So yes, as long as there's a legal target to begin, you can use Lumina to discard Lumina to special summon the Lumina you just sent and extend your field plays, which will help with building your link boards. Additionally, being a 3 with like 6 4-star tuners means that we will absolutely be able to get into our level 7 synchro plays. The Twilight Shaman plays a little bit different. Once per turn, you can banish 1 Lightsworn monster from the hand or graveyard. Then target one of your banished Lightsworn monsters, except same name. Special summon that target. Once per turn, if your other Lightsworn monster's effect is activated, send the top 3 from deck to discard. So again, the Twilight are going to help us further the mill. And again, adding the dark aspect to this deck allows us to play some Chaos cards. And they were genius enough this time to make sure that Lumina was not bringing back Lumina to extend your play that way. Next up, the single copy Lilas. We'll start with the Sorceress. We can target a spell trap the opponent controls. And then this battle position cannot be changed until the end of the next turn. Change this card from face-up attack to defense. And if you do that, destroy the targeted spell. During the end phases, mill 3. It's not as good right now. There's not much of a back row, but as everything starts to shift more to control, this could be a card that you might increase. And the Twilight Sworn Enchantress version, once per turn when a spell trap or effect is activated. As a quick effect, so we can do this during the opposing turn, you can banish 1 Lightsworn monster from your hand or your graveyard and target 1 face-up spell trap on the field to destroy. Again, if another Lightsworn effect is activated, send top 3. And again, this will help you against decks that require their field card for setup, or maybe there's a continuous trap being activated. It's a good interruption, but not so good as to play more than 1. We do run Double Trick Clown just for a little bit of consistency with him, because with this guy, you have to choose in a split second. So if this card is sent to the graveyard, target one Perform Mage monster in the graveyard, it can count himself, special summon it, 0 its stats, and then take 1,000 damage. This effect once per turn. Not terrible. I'm not running the rest of the Perform Mages, just him. And again, I'm running the Plague Spreader Zombie again. This is going to help us increase the level of darks that we have in the deck. I think we ended up with about 8 or 9. Probably 8. And this one we can sit on and wait, so we can choose whether we need to build the board as like an extra type of effect similar to the Perform Mage to build our link plays, or we get a cheeky 2-star, which would require more of like a Lumina base in order to play it properly. The best part about this is you can make certain cards go live, like Fellis and Wolf, if you accidentally have them in your hand and you do not have Recharge or a Lumina that can work yet. We can use the effect of return one card from your hand to the top of the deck, special summon this from the graveyard. If you do remove this when it leaves play again. And again, that can like reset some of your cards that may have bricked. We are using 3 copies Raiden, or Raiden maybe, you pick. Again, 4-star warrior tuner. So this is our other tuner. During the main phase, you can send the top 2 from deck to discard. And then for every Lightsworn monster sent during this, gain 200 attack till the end of the opponent's turn. Really just trying to start our milling and our searching. You only use that effect once per turn. And during each of your end phases, mill 2. So again, not terrible. Wolf cannot be normal summon set, must be special summoned by card effect. If it's sent from deck to graveyard, special summon it. So again, he can get himself to the field just like Fellis to help us build board presence. We are running the single Call by the Grave, again, mine as well. This is a deck that doesn't worry about so much like how much deck space it has in main, so much as you don't want to run out early. And again, this could help us take out a hand trap that we might need to be able to play around. We do run the triple charge of the Light Brigade. You mill 3, then add 1 level 4 lower Lightsworn, which could also be Twilight Sword from deck to hand. So very, very important that we capitalize on maximizing that card. Single Foolish Burial. Really the only play here is developing a Trick Mage or Wolf, as you can get into both there. The Instant Fusion, I got those 2 restrict targets in the extra deck. And again, there's a way to take 2 monsters. I'll show you that. Monster Reborn, best extender. Triple Pot of Avarice. Again, we're milling the deck like crazy. And it is important that we don't mill out too fast. So we'll be able to select 5 monsters in our discard pile, shuffle them back to the deck, draw 2. And it just fits so well into this deck. So single copy Raigeki. Again, just kind of wipe the opposing board and go for try to go for games. Triple Recharge. Again, we want to maximize this. Discard a Lightsworn, which could again be Twilight Sword. Draw 2, then mill 2. And then again, the breakthrough skill. So what made this so important to me wasn't just that I played this in my Jinzo build many, many months ago. It's just the fact I've always played this in Lightsworn since I've seen this card. So it is a normal trap card. Target a face-up effect monster the opponent controls. Has its effects negated until the end of the turn. During your turn, except the turn is sent to the graveyard, you can banish this from the graveyard. Target a face-up effect monster your opponent controls. Have its effects negated until the end of their turn, or the end of this turn. And again, I mean, maybe Valor would be a better play here. But sometimes when I'm trying to build my own board, I find that there's usually a monster on my opponent's side of the field that can interact on my turn. And this would be great up against things like IP Masquerena. Again, I think that they could just respond to that. I'm not terribly certain. But there are a handful of cards that you just don't want to have an effect on your own turn. And so I played that there. Again, player preference, you know, I wouldn't mind seeing Solemn Strikes in that position. Obviously, they do great jobs. I just ran them in Cosmos earlier this week. So, you know, I run it in like everything, but that's fine. So the extra deck, one more time. We do have the 2 instant fusion targets, Millenniumize Restrict and Thousand Eyes Restrict. In one way or the other, we're going to use them for different reasons. Millennium Eyes Restrict is when we want to basically go through a hand trap because it can equip itself with it and then negate the effects of monsters with that name. The more important one would be the Thousand Eyes Restrict, because this will allow us to go ahead and vacuum up one of our opponent's monsters. We can actually link off into Relinquished Anima, and as long as you guys are paying attention to the board game style of the game today, this can go ahead, this will get played anywhere. Anima is going to have to go to one of our 2 extra zones. And again, the opponent generally will play behind their own extra zone. This will allow you to take the monster out of their extra zone, place one into it, and then vacuum up the card that's behind that as well. So that's really the play there. Black Rose Dragon, 7-star synchro, just trying to blow up the field. Boral Savage, again, we just kind of want to have a negation. So when it's a synchro summon, you equip 1 link from your discard to this. And if you do get Boral counters on this equal to the link rating, you can also gain attack equal to half the attack of the monster equipped by this effect. And when your opponent activates a card of her effect as a quick effect, remove one of those Boral counters, negate the activation. So just a very good card. And again, 8 stars. We can do this all day, every day. And again, the later in the game you want to play this guy, the better he's going to get for you. We do play the single copy Michael Arc Lightsworn. It does require non-tuner lights. However, the tuner could be dark if you like. Nice 7-star card again. Once per turn, pay 1,000 life points. Target a card on the field, banish it, so we're good for spot removal. And when this card is destroyed, target any number of other Lightsworn in your graveyard, shuffle them back to the deck, gain 300 life per, and during each of your end phases, mill 3. So pretty cool. Little, we're going to use the word spicy tech because, I don't know, you guys seem to like that every now and again, is the Scarlet Red Dragon Arc Fiend. Now, if my camera will focus, maybe you guys can go ahead and read that effect as well. But this is this card's name becomes Red Dragon Archfiend while this is on the field or in the graveyard. Irrelevant. Once per turn, destroy as many special summoned effect monsters on the field as possible with attack less than or equal to this card, other than this card. Then inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each monster destroyed. Punish the opponent for having a ton of special summon monsters, especially if you guys end up playing up against something like Dragon Link. They can board a lot of things real quick. And again, your opponent's going to take damage for each one destroyed. So even your own cards that do fall into this category, nobody sees that guy coming. For the Xyz, we are going to be running the Abyss Dweller to go ahead and try to hold off things like Eldritch, I think. A couple other decks that really utilize the discard pile. We do tack in the Bujintai Tsukuyomi. This card might be a little out of your price range. Maybe you want to put in Baguska instead. That'd be fine. You could always throw an extra link in there. This requires 2 level 4 lights. The effect that we want is the first effect. So once per turn, detach material from this. Send your entire hand to the graveyard. Minimum cards 1. And if you do, draw 2. That's really all we're interested in. And it will help us maybe try to extend out. We do run Exciton Knight again. We are obsessed with board wipes here. Because, again, this isn't a regional strength deck. What this is more like how can you get up in your opponent's face in a locals. And, again, I just like the theme of being able to destroy everything with the Judgment Dragon. And I tried to carry it over to the extra deck. Once per chain during the main phase of your opponent's battle phase, your main phase or opponent's battle phase. If the opponent has more total cards in their hand and field than you do, quick effect, detach 1 material from this, destroy all other cards on the field. Also, the opponent takes no further damage for this turn. Again, this is something I did run up against, and this is another reason why I love Breakthrough Skill. So, again, you would just respond to that effect. We do run the single Minerva. This is actually really amazing. 2 level 4s. Detach material from this, send top 3 from deck to discard. Draw cards equal to the number of Lightsworn cards. So if you were running Lightsworn spell traps that are named, this would still work. So even in a more casual build than this, this still has relevancy. And And if this card is destroyed by battle, or if this card in its owner's possession is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can send the top 3 from your deck to the discard, destroy cards on the field up to the number of Lightsworn cards sent to the graveyard by this effect, using each effect only once per turn. Great card. Again, to the links, let's try to wrap this up a little bit early so we can make the video with the test hands for you. We do have the Boral Sword. This is like, again, I just can't afford $100 for an access code talker. And it does pretty much the same effect, allowing us to attack over some crazy stuff. IP Masquerena to mess around on the opponent's turn and give our Link monster invulnerability to card effects. By that, I mean it cannot be destroyed by card effects. Unicorn was the only nightmare I decided to play this time. And again, when you do link summon this, you can discard a card, target a card on the field, and return it to the deck. So that's fine. Relinquished Anima, building off of whichever restrict play you went for. Again, if you guys go into the Thousand Eyes restrict and you pay attention to where that arrow is pointing, we can go ahead and we can get a double vacuum cleaner off of a single instant fusion. And then last but not least, my Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. Again, I went with this over Apollosa because I didn't want to exactly chain block so much as I wanted to be able to utilize my opponent's monster because I didn't run Kaiju cards in here again. And again, with IP Masquerena, we do this during the opposing turn and give it a little more protection for itself. So that is the deck. I do want to thank you guys for anybody who did watch that all the way through. I've just got one more thing to say to you guys, and that's you have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. See you later.